Okay, now we want to talk about a special type of landscape that results from weathering, and this is called karst. And karst is a calcium-heavy type of environment where, over time, it starts to be eroded and eaten away by chemical processes or other types of weathering. And it can be by groundwater, usually by groundwater. And what it does is it creates these underground caverns. To make it work, you have to have limestone, but it's got to be really heavy in calcium carbonate, okay, because that reacts with moisture. Um, you have to have joint patterns, and you have to have some type of zone where the air exists in the soil, and you have to have vegetation to supply above the ground to supply the organic acids that are needed. Now here's where they exist all over the world, and you can see here in the United States we have quite a few examples of this. Over here, especially over here in the Midwest, but down in Florida, a lot down here. If you've ever been to over here in this part of Mexico, for example, where there was a lot of Mayan activity, a lot of caverns there, and other places all throughout the world. And on the surface, oftentimes sinkholes are a form of karst landscapes, these circular depressions that eventually collapse down. We've probably all seen these on the news. Or in humid tropics, we get these really thick limestone beds that do differential erosion, and we get these towers, we call them. Here's a giant sinkhole here. But again, the limestone was here. It eventually ate away, formed these kind of caverns underneath, and the weight of the rock above collapsed the roof of the cavern, and we get these giant sinkholes. Another example where they fill up with water. And also, here's these towers we were talking about. Again, limestone that's been eroded away, and they form these towers. So you get sinkholes and towers. But the most famous feature is the caverns, where you get these caves that are just beneath the water table, and the water drips down containing these dissolved minerals, and it drips down from the ceilings, and it starts to form these mineral growths. And if it's down, they're stalactites. If they're formed on the ground and reach up, they are stalagmites. And there's a special subfield of geology for that called speology, which is the study of caves. Okay, so here's how it works, where here's your sinkhole, for example. It's this old limestone. This has all been eroded away, so moisture will drip down and it dissolves the limestone with it. Very, very slowly drips down, and some of the minerals accumulate, and we get stalactites, or it will fall down onto the ground and build up, and we get stalagmites. And oftentimes these will fill up with water, and the water will, rain or whatever, will enter through the sinkhole itself. These will fill up with water. They make these magnificent cave systems filled with water, and they're great to dive in if you have that type of experience. Okay, so that's your karst. Okay, let's then we'll do mass movement in part 5.